All right, so I am out here at the Wharf in Washington, D.C. and one of my most popular YouTube videos was a video I did a couple years ago on living in D.C. and all the pros and cons. So in this video, I'm gonna be doing an updated version on the pros and cons of living here in Washington, D.C. And what better not spot here than the Wharf? Like I said, you got the marina, the Anthem, and I'm looking at the Washington Monument. So this is definitely a video I am excited about. So let's get right into the video. All right, so one of the biggest pros as we're out here at the Wharf is the Anthem. This is one of my favorite amphitheaters. You can come here before a show, just walk up and down the boardwalk, grab a drink, or look out at the pier. And then also, like, I've seen so many amazing groups there. I went and saw the Killers, to Dave Chappelle, to the Foo Fighters, so some huge acts come here, and you can walk outside after the show, hop on a water taxi, or just take a walk around and grab a drink. Definitely a cool spot you should check out. Let's go check out the fish market and talk about more of the pros and cons of living here in DC. All right, so let's talk about one of the biggest pros and probably why you're watching this video. It's going to be the job market here in the city of Washington, D.C. The median household income is around $130,000. And then obviously you have the federal government with Capitol Hill and all those jobs. And then there's a lot of legal jobs, federal contracting jobs, to technology jobs. And I'm looking right across the river at the Pentagon. And then of course over in Arlington, they have the new Amazon headquarters, Raytheon, Boeing, and Nestle. So there are so many jobs around here. And when you get out to some of these suburbs, some of the median household incomes are around $180,000. So you know what, if the federal government goes down, the rest of the country is going down with it. But that is one of the huge pros about living here in the Washington, D.C. area. All right, so let's talk about my favorite subject, which you can hit me up at the number below. It's going to be housing. And probably the biggest pro here of Washington, D.C. and the housing is there are so many options. You can get a condo from $200,000 to $300,000 to a row house to $600,000 to $700,000, or you can head over to my favorite location, Georgetown, and get a row townhouse for, you know, a couple $1 million, or a penthouse in the Ritz for $10 million. So there's so many different housing options. And one of the cons is it is super expensive. The median sales price is around $660,000, and the median rental price is around $2,700 a month, which could be a huge con. So a lot of people end up going out to the suburbs of Virginia or Maryland for some of their housing options. But another pro is you really don't need a car because you can walk around everywhere. So those are some of my favorite things about housing in here. But let's keep giving you guys a tour of DC and talk about all the pros and cons. All right, so one of the cons I gotta tell you guys about, a lot of my clients I've sold houses to that aren't from this area bring up, is this area is really professional. So be prepared for everyone to ask you how much you make, what do you do for a living, and what you are into politically. It is a really transient area as well. People are always coming and going. So definitely keep that in mind. That can definitely be a con if you're not used to something like that. But let's keep giving you guys a tour and talk about the pros and cons of Washington, D.C. So let's talk about transportation here in Washington, D.C. because transportation and traffic are definitely going to be part of your life. And there was a survey that just came out. We are number 2 in the nation for the worst traffic. On average, to go 6 miles, it takes 20 minutes. Only New York City was worse. So you might not want a car if you live here in D.C. But if you go outside the city, you're definitely going to want a car. Definitely just keep in mind, though, there's going to be some traffic. But one thing I love, which is a huge positive, is our metro system here is amazing. And they keep it really clean because there's obviously so much tourism here in DC, but you know what? Traffic is just part of life here living in DC, and that can definitely be a huge con. But let's keep going on a tour and talk about the pros and cons of Washington, DC. All right, so I'm standing here in front of Nats Park, and it's really cool, right? The Wharf is just a mile down the road, and it was like an 8-minute Uber ride, and then I'm looking down here, and you have Audi Field where DC United play. But there is just so much here to do in Washington, DC. I was just looking, and the president just flew by in a helicopter. So of course, you have the White House and all the monuments, and all of that is free, right? You can go to the Smithsonian museums and check all that out, or the Kennedy Center, and there is just so much to do. One of the cons, though, in the summer, there are so many tourists that come in and out of here, and of course Christmas time as well, so definitely keep that in mind. But you will definitely never get bored here in Washington, D.C. All right, so Washington, D.C. has a ton of pros and just a little bit of cons, but it's an awesome place to live. As you can tell behind me, there's all kinds of unique housing, and that is what I specialize in. So text me at the number below. Me and my team would love to help you find a house, or shoot me an email, info@colganteam.com, and definitely subscribe to this channel where we talk about all things DMV area. We're gonna go around and keep checking out Washington, D.C. And like I said, you better subscribe. See you guys later.